Hey friends! If you have limited mobility or low vision that keeps you from doing the things that you love to do, well, keep watching and we'll show you how it's possible to get out of the house and explore
Muir Woods. In February this year, we spent a whirlwind 3 days in San Francisco, and while I'm not a big fan of the phrase bucket list, there are several things that I'm hoping to see while I still have the vision to see them, and my wife is doing that with me. This year she took me to one of those, and that was Muir Woods, where I could see the glorious redwoods.
Now you can certainly drive there on your own, but we decided to take the big bus tour right from Fisherman's Wharf. Our hotel was just a 5-minute walk away, so the logistics were easy and seamless. A van took us over the Golden Gate Bridge and allowed us to snap a few pictures there. We drove another 20 or 30 minutes through some windy roads with a few pretty steep cliffs. We were really glad we had an experienced bus driver handling the driving. He also shared a lot of interesting facts about the area. Once at Muir Woods, the van was able to park very close to the entrance. There were restrooms close, and they were easy to find and use. We were allowed 1.5 hours to explore on our own before the bus tour was to take us back to San Francisco. We found the trails to be perfect for walking. They were flat and wide and made from either wood or asphalt. They were free from any rocks or roots or those types of things that William could miss and stumble over. It was raining a little for the first hour of our visit, but it didn't make the experience any less amazing for us. In fact, it may have heightened the smells of the forest, and the sound of the dripping rain was so soothing. The rain did not make the paths or boardwalks slippery at all, and how funny are these ponchos? There are 3 fairly easy trails in the park, a half-hour loop, an hour loop, and an hour-and-a-half loop. There are also longer trails that take you into a surrounding state park, though these are known to be narrow, steep, and rugged. There are some benches scattered along the trails if a rest is needed. However, because we went in late February, there were no crowds and we never felt pushed to walk faster than we wanted.
One final note on accessibility that's very important. You can see that I'm legally blind, but I am partially sighted. But for those of you who may be fully blind or even a little less sighted than I am, we found that Muir Woods is extremely accessible, and here's why. Service dogs are allowed, of course. There is a lot of great clean trails. They have Braille trail maps upon request. There is a ramp up to the gift shop instead of all of the wooden stairs, and they have wheelchairs that you can borrow. So there are lots of ways to get around Muir Woods, and I highly recommend it. It's so beautiful.
We took the hour loop and we found it to be easy and enjoyable. We were in awe as we passed these ancient giants. We both agreed that this was one of the best places we had ever visited. The smells, the sights, sounds, and just the feeling of awe is so overwhelming here.
I'm out here in the middle of Muir Woods in California, seeing just the beautiful redwoods, something I can see before I lose all of my vision. And it is majestic and glorious. I would be impossible to convince that this wasn't designed by an incredible designer.
After we completed the loop, we swung into the gift shop to purchase a keepsake. They have many items made from sustainably sourced redwood trees. Then we stopped at the visitor center for a minute and headed back to the bus. The driver took us back through Sausalito and then back over the Golden Gate Bridge. If I'm being honest, I was nervous to ride over this bridge and I had a bit of anxiety before we went. But I didn't have any issues or fear once I was there. It was amazing to see the ocean, and it only took a couple of minutes to drive across. We returned back to the tour company on Fisherman's Wharf right at lunchtime, and it just so happens to be right across the street from the famous Boudin Sourdough Bakery. If you want to know more about that and our time on Fisherman's Wharf, please check out our channel for those videos.
If you've never been with us, we like to rate everything we visit on a scale of 1 to 10 based on the following 3 factors: accessibility, interest, and overall experience. Honey, based on these factors, what would you rate Muir Woods?
I'm a little bit biased because I love anything to do with nature, and I was so excited to visit this place. I've never seen redwood trees, so I was so excited. Everything was so accessible, and also it was just amazingly beautiful. I would rate this 10 out of 10 for sure. I loved it.
I'm gonna rate it a 9 out of 10. Not that there's anything wrong with Muir Woods. This is actually a little bit of my bias coming through. But supposedly there are banana slugs all over that place, and that would be something I'd really like to have seen, and I didn't see a one. And also I talked with the park ranger about snakes. If you watch us very long, you'll know I like snakes, especially venomous ones, and according to the park ranger, there's nothing like that in the park. So a little bit disappointing there, but in all seriousness, it is so beautiful there. There is nothing quite like standing at the base of a redwood and looking straight up to the upper reaches of the sky and realizing how small and insignificant I really am. Well, that does it for this episode of Gilkey's Limited Adventures. Be sure to like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, questions, feedback, drop them in the comment section below. We read every one of them, and we'll see you on the next adventure.